Why hasn't Canelo Alvarez Gennadiy Golovkin 3 already been made? On the surface, a third fight between should be one of the easiest super fights to make. For one thing, both fighters are under contract to DAZN, the streaming service, so there will be no haggling between competing networks over who will get to televise the fight, as there was when Mike Tyson and Lennox Lewis were hashing things out in 2002. For another, since their DAZN contracts stipulate specific purses for their fights, there is no need for the management teams of either Alvarez or Golovkin to negotiate an acceptable split of the PPV revenues, which is always a huge stumbling block when trying to make one of these deals. And for a third, these two have already fought two controversial fights decided by razor-thin decisions that people still argue about. A third fight so why isn't it happening? The official narrative is that the GGG camp is refusing to fight Alvarez once again in Las Vegas. The story goes but that theory is the ultimate red herring, and doesn't seem to hold water for a couple of reasons. For one, sources on the GGG side say there is no hard and fast anywhere but Vegas demand from their side. And for another, so it would seem their problem is not so much with where the fight was held, but with how it was scored. For the record, the upshot of it all is that Golden Boy Promotions, which controls Alvarez's destiny, is said to be demanding a resolution by the end of business today Friday, June 21 or they will move on to other opponents. The canard that GGG is demanding to dictate the site of the third fight seems like a plant designed to deflect attention to what is really going on here. And that is, we're going to do the third fight when Canelo wants to do it, Eric Gomez, Golden Boy's president, told Yahoo Sports on Friday. Is he interested in it? Then he told me something very interesting. There's no big difference in what he will get paid for a GGG fight than for any other fight. And that is the key right there, He's already and according to Gomez, there is no stipulation in the contract that Alvarez must fight GGG to reap the entire windfall. If he can make that kind of money to fight easier opponents than GGG, why bother? This is not to say that Alvarez is afraid of GGG, or ducking him. At this level, professional boxers are no more frightened of their opponents than race car drivers are of careening around a track at 200 mph, or airline pilots are of flying a plane they know could plunge into the sea. To pros, not, but at this level, boxing is a business, and elite-level fighters routinely choose fights based on how much money they can make at the least amount of risk. And even though he may also be bored with the matchup, and according to one boxing source, still harbors resentment against GGG for remarks made before their second fight, when Alvarez was coming off a PED suspension. According to the source, although DAZN closely guards the details of their contracts, it seems pretty obvious that the terms of Alvarez's deal disincentivizes him from wanting to fight GGG a third time when he can get close to the same amount of money fighting, say, Demetrius Andrade, who holds the only 160-pound title that Alvarez doesn't, or Callum Smith, the hard-punching Englishman who could add a 168-pound title to Alvarez's legacy. There's also been money's not an issue with Canelo, Gomez said. He wants to make hits, and to him, GGG is history. Ancient history. For me, it's done, Alvarez said of the rivalry with GGG after his decision win over Jacobs in May. But if people want it, that hardly sounds like a guy chomping at the bit for a third fight. Canelo's in the position that he can pick and choose whoever he wants to fight, Gomez said. There are guys out there posturing? Maybe. After all, it signed Alvarez to be its marquee fighter, and added GGG to ensure itself a marquee fight. But in the end, its deal with Alvarez, all carrot and no stick, may be the reason why the third fight has been so difficult to make. And in fact, more from Yahoo Sports.
Raindrop, drop top smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park pot.